business of branded content can take you into a myriad of directions. Well, I'm super stoked about this expert session about branded content and how you make sure to get it to the next level. How you ensure that you actually get your money back when you invest into branded content, well, and some more obviously. And we're gonna also learn about the future of branded content, where it's heading, and what you gotta do to hit it big for 2021 and beyond. I'm super stoked for this session. Welcome on our virtual stage. This is Andrew.
Hello, my name is Andrew Canter. I'm the Global CEO of the Branded Content Marketing Association, or BCMA. And I'm here today to talk to you about the business of branded content. Before we get into the detail of the presentation, I thought it would be worth just giving you a bit of an overview and the background of the BCMA. We're a global organization that focuses on branded content and influencer marketing. We have 14 chapters across the world, from the USA down to India and pretty much everywhere in between, led by the experts in their fields. Our commitment to members is to promote best practice and to support them through an active and powerful community. We also have a full education program that's developed with the University of the Arts London, focusing on continuous professional development and accredited courses. Our membership spans world-leading brands, agencies, production companies, platforms, media owners, pretty much everyone who is involved in branded content and influencer marketing. So really, when we think about branded content, it's really now the cornerstone of most campaigns now for brands. And we've also seen the rise of influencer marketing, which is now reaching critical mass and delivering on average around about 5 times ROI. And we've seen that markets around the world develop at different speeds, hence why we have a globally connected network that allows us to share best practice and learning around the world. And we know that it's increasingly difficult for brands to stand out and cut through the clutter because there's so much choice now and so much going on. But generally, no one wants to be interrupted by advertising anymore. It's really about finding something that is engaging and entertaining, people seeking out that content. And then once they've seen that content, they then share it with their friends and family and their network of followers. But we know that brands need to adapt in this ever-changing world. But we also know they must entertain and engage. So what is branded content? So from a managerial perspective, branded content is any output that is fully or partly funded or at least endorsed by the legal owner of the brand, which promotes the owner's brand values and makes audiences choose to engage with the brand based on a pull logic due to its entertainment, information, and your education value. This was from a study we commissioned with Oxford Brookes University's Business School and our global research partner, Ipsos Mori. Really, this is what it's saying is that people want to seek out that great content and they make the choice to engage with that content. But you know what? Branded content is nothing new. If we go back 125 years, there were brands like John Deere, the agricultural company, that was producing a magazine called The Furrow, which focused on all the agricultural issues of the day. But within that magazine, there were features on the machinery that they were making as well. When we think about the Michelin Guide, the Michelin brothers realized that when people wanted to go to all these amazing places and restaurants and hotels, they were going to have to drive there. And when you drive, you need tires. Hovis, a good old-fashioned English brand that was making bread for the last 100-odd years, they were also producing cycle maps because they realized that, you wanted to keep healthy. I think the point there is that those publications and those brands are still producing that content today. But we know there's a lot of content out there, not all of it great. This is a big number, and that's the amount of content that's generated on the internet every hour. And it's increasing every single minute of every single day. However, it's a pretty valuable market when you think about the amount of money that's spent on branded content globally. This is a figure that comes from Verizon Media, $13.4 billion in the last year alone. And again, that's going to only increase. So let's get on and think about some of the brands that have used branded content most effectively. And I'm going to start with a brand that really, for me, 20 years ago, produced some groundbreaking work. Let's take a look at what they did and how they did it.
Hi, my name is Bruce Bilston. 15 years ago here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, we created something at an agency called Fallon called BMW Films. It set the bar for what branded content could be. And last year, 3 of us that were on that original team, myself, David Carter, and Brian DiLorenzo, were asked to do a new film to celebrate that 15th anniversary called The Escape, and starring Clive Owen. Seeing the reaction to that film made us realize that what we did here in Minneapolis in 2001 was important, and that branded content is here to stay. We wish we could be at your event today, and we wish you the very best.
What would you fall on your sword for?
Trade the sunrise for sunset. That's what I did.
Listen carefully. This is going to happen very quickly.
What is it?
It's about to get.
There's always something waiting at the end of the road.
I know a thing or two about performing.
Keep your eyes on the road instead of on me. We might be getting somewhere.
Let me see what I can do.
Wow. Well, I hope you agree, but that was just an extraordinary series of films that were created by one of the most pioneering brands that I believe that really started the whole world of branded content in a big way. And we can see that they produced some really outstanding results for the business in a time when we didn't even have YouTube and we didn't even have fast broadband. They were viewed over 100 million times, and this meant that people had to download them, and in some cases download them overnight because internet speeds were so slow. They were really using the best talent in front and behind the cameras. They were Oscar-winning directors. It really was the start of Clive Owen's career in film. And, when you look at the sales numbers, sales increased in that following period by double-digit growth, and that continued in the following year, reaching an increase of 17.2%. And I think when you look at the talent, as I mentioned earlier, that was involved in creating this amazing series, you can see that this is how Tony Scott would have created one of the films, and this was the Beat the Devil storyboard. And you can see that it's a really amazing sort of process that they must have gone through to create this incredible series. Okay, let's fast forward about 20 years and move into the times that we're dealing with now. Obviously, the last 12 months have been a really difficult time for everyone, not just from a sort of business perspective, but from personal perspective as well. The pandemic has changed the way that we do business. It's changed the way that we consume media and entertainment. So what we wanted to do was really drill down and understand how brands had kind of changed the way that they had created content over that time. So we created the Global Lockdown Content Showcase. And what we did is we reached out to the network of global heads of BCMA chapters, and we asked them to nominate their top 5 campaigns during the lockdown period. And then we opened it up to the BCMA membership to vote for their best campaigns. So what we have now is we ended up with 52 campaigns, and I'm now going to show you the top 12 campaigns that were voted best in class.
Thing going for you.
Whoa! What? No!
Guys, does anyone have my iPad?
Close your eyes, gently deepen your breath.
Babe, your boss is FaceTiming you.
What?
Vivian?
This is not good.
Morning.
Good morning!
So, Project Pandora's boxes?
I truly agree. There are some fantastic examples of how brands have been pushing the boundaries of creativity and really adapting to those difficult and challenging times. So let's now look at some of the current and future trends that are going to be coming into play for branded content and influencer marketing. Let's start by predicting the future. You know, the one thing I always say to people about predicting the future is the one thing is guaranteed is you're going to be wrong. This was a quote that was made some time ago. I think there is a world maybe for 5 computers. You may well have heard this quote before, but this was made by Thomas Watson, the then CEO of IBM in 1943. How wrong could he be? But I think it just really shows how, you know, when you're trying to think about what happens in the future, you've got to really look back to see what's been happening over the last few years and then make I suppose, an educated guess in terms of what's going to happen. I don't know everything that's going to happen in the future, but what I do know is that we've seen a huge growth in audio content and the use of voice activation with Alexa and Siri in terms of how we've now tried to adapt to this new world of audio. So what I'm going to do now is show you an example of how Land Rover used audio content in one of their most successful campaigns. I always like to say to people, it's probably best if you close your eyes when you take on this video.
Follow the trail of plotters threatening to bring chaos to the country and discover amazing facts about Britain as you go.
But the fact is, in these very caves, where we're standing now,
Our Mesolithic ancestors made cups and bowls from human skulls.
Well, stay close. I'm getting a bad feeling here.
Can you hear her?
Oh, that is a little unsettling.
It really does take you on that journey. I think that's an incredibly powerful way to use content in the right way at the right time. Let's move on to talk about gamification and how gaming and esports has really been a game changer in terms of how brands have been using content. So this was a great example from a betting company, Unibet, of how they used esports to really get their message across. Let's have a look at this now. Once again, quite a simple idea that was brilliantly executed. The channel, the platform they chose was really, really right, and the results were outstanding. Let's talk a little bit now about artificial intelligence, or AI. There's been a lot of talk about this in the last couple of years. I'm not sure brands have really taken this on board as much as they potentially could do. We know, this is a great quote from Ada Lovelace, made 150 odd years ago: computers originate nothing, they merely do that which we order them. If we're going to use this technology, and I think we should do, we've also got to have the human magic, if I could put it that way, interweaved in it. Now, a brand such as Lexus, for example, has taken AI on board and has created some content using artificial intelligence. Let's have a look at that now. I think the jury's still out on that, but every time I see it, and I've seen it a lot, I always see something new and something different. So maybe that's what they're trying to kind of do in terms of their times, the way they've done it. I think it's brilliant that they've done it. I think, as a leading brand that's using innovative content, they should be applauded. Let's move on to talk about disruptors and the disruptive companies that have really, come to the fore. We've got organizations like Uber and Airbnb, whereby they're billion-dollar companies, but they don't own anything. They don't have any true assets in the sense of, the way that we've talked about how companies get valued. However, when we think about the entrepreneurial spirit and the disruptors that we've seen coming to the forefront, let's look at it in entertainment. Netflix, really, in terms of how they've changed the way that we view TV now, where everything has really gone on demand. I'd like to focus on a market that's been disrupted by a company called Dollar Shave Club, where they've taken on the big FMCG brands like Gillette and Wilkinson's and really tried to change the game. Let's see what they've done.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot.
I love that. I think it's quirky, irreverent. It's really putting two fingers up at their competitors. I think it's great, and they continue to do that now, and they've been extraordinarily successful. Let's move on to talk about brands with purpose. We talk about this a lot. There's been a lot around sustainability and green brands, and also the electric vehicles, for example, and pollution. But I think it's got to be done in a way that's true to the brand spirit. One of those brands is definitely Patagonia, the outdoor clothing brand, where Yvon Chouinard says to do good, you actually have to do something. And they've been a real advocate and trailblazer in this world. They've done a huge amount to look at different industries, and in particular, they've been looking at the fishing industry. And their new film Artificial has really taken on some of those big issues. So I'm going to show you the trailer of the film, and some of the scenes may be a little bit upsetting. So just to give you a bit of a warning.
Humans have always thought themselves as superior to nature.
Would you like to touch one?
It's got us into a lot of trouble.
We've been stalking salmon since the time of Darwin. We literally knew nothing of evolutionary ecology. We would have been flying blind.
I mean, that's really powerful stuff, and that's putting your money where your mouth is. That's a 90-minute documentary, theatrical released film that's cost several $1 million to produce. Does it make you want to go out and buy Patagonia? For some people, definitely will do. And I think that's really, really extraordinary. Let's talk about the influencer world. As Mark Zuckerberg said, nothing influences people more than a recommendation from a trusted friend. A trusted referral influences people more than the best broadcast message. It's always been the way. A personal recommendation is much more powerful than any advertising campaign. And influencers now have a huge following. They talk directly with their audience. Not surprising, it's really become a very powerful way for brands to talk to their potential customers. But it's got to be done in the right way. We've done a lot of work in this area to help professionalize the influencer industry. I think it's something that's going to be growing exponentially in the next couple of years. So let's see an example. This is from the Italian market for Nike.
Tutti dicevano che era assurdo combattere, sognare, ma se non ti fermi davanti a niente, anche un sogno assurdo diventa possibile.
I think that's a brilliant film. It was really powerful and striking imagery, and just focusing on, what Nike does best in terms of, putting it out there. So let's just finish up on some of the other evolving trends. We've talked about a few of them, but, we've seen a lot more collaboration. We've seen, how crowdsourcing's become a really interesting way of getting content out there. We've seen AI, but there's also virtual reality, augmented reality. Podcasts have become, a really great way to interact and engage with people. Personalization and customization is another growing trend. We haven't really talked a lot about distribution, but it is really important to ensure that you get the distribution right from the outset. Don't just leave it to the last minute. And also, you've got to activate the campaign. So, once you've got the content right and ready to go, you've got to invest and get it out to the right people at the right time. Because once it's out there, guys, you know, everyone wants to share it if it's brilliant. That's about it. And I just want to thank you for listening. I hope you've found it interesting. I hope you've enjoyed some of the examples that we've seen. And I really urge you to use branded content in a way that's going to engage and entertain your customers and your potential customers. So thanks very much.